Okay, hello. So now today we are going to be talking about the elements that are in 1001 Nights, the literary devices and literary elements. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is magical realism. Magical realism is realistic narrative and naturalist technique combined with surreal elements of dream and fantasy. Okay, it should be of dream and fantasy. Or fantasy. What we have for magical realism. Okay, I'll give you some examples. Alright, I'm walking down the street. It's my street, my neighborhood, my house. I'm walking right by my house on the sidewalk. All of a sudden, appears a purple elephant that's talking to me, knows my name. Okay, that is magical realism. Why? Because it is a natural setting. It is a real setting. It is my street, right? That's like in concrete in the physical world. Now, what is impossible, what is fantasy about that example is, of course, the elephant that talks to me, that's purple, So, like, 1001 Nights is going to have a lot of those little bits of magical realism. Someone rides up on a carpet, right? Suddenly, a lost object appears out of thin air. There's going to be lots of moments of magical realism. Okay, juxtaposition, to juxtapose, meaning when two ideas, places, characters, concepts, or objects are placed next to one another for dramatic contrast. Okay, so some, examples of this is the writer might put, fire and ice next to one another. There might be a whisper right next to a scream. There might be one very silly, satirical character, someone who's funny, next to a very quiet and serious type. Okay, so you have like two kind of opposite or opposing concepts, people, places, etc., right next to one another. And it creates this dramatic effect. Okay, moral lesson. I think we're all familiar with a moral lesson. A message or a lesson to be learned from a story or event. So, for instance, like I'm gonna, like little short stories with morals in them, like Tortoise and the Hare. Slow and steady wins the race. Is the moral lesson to that tale. The boy who cried wolf, right? You don't go around crying out wolf when there's nothing there, right? I don't know if you guys have heard Little Boy Who Cried Wolf. Really, like, any tale, shows that good overcomes evil, things like that. The cunning of women. So in 1001 Nights, we have a lot of female characters. The story starts off with, this evil king killing a bunch of women on and marrying them, basically, and then killing them on their wedding night. We have a woman that sticks up and is like, this has got to stop. And she kind of tricks him into keeping her alive every night because she tells a great story. And he wants to hear another one, so they have to wait another night, you see. So we not only do we have her, Scheherazade, okay, we also have several other female characters that appear in these stories who are kind of like a little trickster or a manipulator. Somebody who kind of just navigates the world through pushing things, pulling things, pulling a little strings, getting what they want, okay? And a lot of the times they show up next to men who either need their help or are subject to their manipulation. Okay, so simple plain language is what it is. Language that simply narrates or describes the scene. So you're not going to find like huge words here that you don't understand or something like that. This is very plain language. It's accessible. It's meant to be accessible to everybody. There will be language or terms in the text that are place and culture specific, and I do expect that you're going to be looking those up on your own terms because you want the story to make sense. All right, so we have some horror story elements. Genie or Ginny or Jinn. We tend to pronounce it Genie, but it's actually like Ginny. Are powerful spirits that haunt the deserts. Okay, they give the stories a sense of macabre. Okay, macabre is like the grotesque, the kind of like scary, cobwebs, dark, dank, like mansion, type of thing, like horror elements, right? So we have genie are a big part of the stories in 1001 Nights, and they play an even larger role in Forbidden Wish, which is the YA novel that we will be reading after 1001 Nights. So this is perhaps one of the most important ones on this slideshow. Dramatic visualization is the representing of an object, character, or scene with the abundance of detail. Okay, so it's a rendering of gestures, or it could be the rendering of gestures and dialogue in such a way to make a given scene more visual or imaginatively present for audiences. Okay, so when I'm telling a story, there are going to be times when I'm telling a story, okay, where I might use some broad strokes. I'm walking, if I'm like walking into the Harris Teeter, I'm walking to the Harris Teeter. It's a bright, sunny day. I walk into the Harris Teeter. I take a cart and I go into the vegetable section. Suddenly, in the vegetable section, there's an array of greens, of purples, of oranges, and smells of delicious fruits and vegetables. I pause and watch the mist from the overhead showers rain onto the fruit and vegetables. The lights glisten off of, it just like, you see, my broad strokes are walking into the store and suddenly I jump into scene to make it very dramatic. I'm trying to build up to something, right? Something is going to happen after I'm hardcore contemplating these vegetables and fruit. Okay, so that is all. You need to be using these notes to look at your journal entry for next week. So I hope you found what you need. Bye.